Hello y'all, here's the last video from my 2023 trip around the world. So first I was making these videos to let people know how the trip was and what was going on in my life and the travels. And I'm realizing how good they have been for integration for me, and I get to go through all my journals and everything and see what happened and then make a video about it. And so and kind of consolidate all my insights and challenges and different things. So this is about Tamera, a intentional community in Portugal. Been around for 50 years, I think. Pretty big. 120 people live there. It's pretty spread out. There's little like different villages there. I was in the campus where sort of like the visitors come through. I think there's 120 residents that live there. There was 30 of us in a work-study group that I worked in the kitchen. People also worked in a dog shelter. People worked in reception or a food container, so there's different jobs you could do. And then there would be other smaller groups that would come, or there were other groups that would come for different amounts of time. Like there were intro weeks that would come for 1 week. There were the community course that came for a month. Our group was there for 5 to 10 weeks, our group of 30 people. So it was nice to have our group and then to have other groups that would come through. So we weren't like just stuck with our same people. We got kind of mix it up with new people. Tamera is really big into water retention, and that they are in a desert and have a lot of drought. And then they actually dug these lakes out and catch the water and are able to save it. They had a bar where people hang out at nighttime. There's lots of events, dances, beach volleyball on sand there. There's lots of hikes. Nature was okay. There was like oak trees and eucalyptus. Our group would meet every morning, 9 a.m. for an hour, just to talk about the kitchen, anything we needed to know. And then I worked 5 times in the kitchen for 3-hour shifts per week. Loved working with everyone in the kitchen. Yeah, my intention for going to Tamera was to learn more about intentional communities, see what I love about them, what I don't like about them, because I want to live in one eventually, to know what I like and what I don't like, and just to get more experience. And also I had heard that Tamera was the love school and taught about free love, so I wanted to learn about that as well. Other communities and places that I'd gone on the trip, I was there for a smaller time. This place I was there for 2 months, which was the biggest amount of time. So it was really nice to go into there like that, and I felt less rushed and less planning, because other places I got there for like 2 weeks, like in Bali in Germany, I was there for 2 weeks, and I felt like I really want to maximize my experience and make as much happen as I can and experience as much as I can. So I would like try and make as much things happen as I could. So it was nice to be somewhere for 2 months and just be more relaxed in that. The community before Tamera was Zeg in Germany, where there was no technology allowed in the common spaces, only at the Wi-Fi cafe. And then going into Tamera, where technology was allowed and people had it out, I had noticed that people were a lot more present at the previous community where technology was only allowed in the Wi-Fi place. So that was nice. I would like that in community, to have like designated places for technology. Tamera is really big on meetings and meetings like every day. So there was so much meetings and sitting and listening and sharing, more than was desired for me. They called our group work and study, and we definitely worked. There wasn't that much study, and that there wasn't that many like teachings or seminars or workshops provided by Tamera to really like learn about things. They definitely did, but I think we wanted a little more in our group. And similar to many other communities, there was this big calendar of the whole month, and that our group, there were so many skilled and knowledgeable people that we would hold our own workshops, and there were workshops happening like every day, like multiple. So we got to share a lot of our own skills. I did some breath work and held a lot of dances and got to teach some contact improv because everyone's super interested in that all around the world and don't seem to know about it so much. I really loved being in tribe and living with people, working with them, sleeping in the same places, playing together, cuddling, touching, doing inner work together. And just to like go into a kitchen shift with like people that I have just done all of those things with for weeks just makes work such a different experience, in that we're family and we're just working together and laughing and playing music and dancing and having hug breaks in the kitchen shift. And that it was probably like 5 or 6 of us that were cooking in the kitchen at one time, and then there was one leader. And I remember that leader a couple days before, the day before, had gone into form and had this really big, vulnerable, deep experience in front of everyone. And then she was our leader, our boss, like the following day. And it was just such a I could see like we just felt so close to them, and to feel so close to a leader like that just, I think, yeah, just brings more energy and determination and loyalty from the workers to them. Yeah. Like we had to cook for like 120 people like so many days, and we had to skip breaks sometimes, and just to be able to do that. But like we were so willing to do that because we felt the wholeness in the family and the community, and that we were doing this for them. And switching really from like extrinsic motivation to intrinsic. And that there was lots of conflict that came up, that does come up in community, lots of triggers. And we would show up in meetings and people would say, hey, I'm having a problem with this, I'm having a trigger, and they can, and maybe not have a solution, but they're able to really like show or bring it to the group, and then the group could work together to come up with a solution. And people were like, a big issue is that people were late and people weren't showing up to meetings. And so instead of like, I was thinking, okay, I work at a hospital and no one's ever late, hardly ever, or people don't not show up. They show up and they're on time. And what is the difference between that and this? Why does the hospital work and this doesn't? People are not showing up and they're late. And I talked to a psychologist who was part of my group there, and I was like, positive negative reinforcement, and that hospital is extrinsic motivation, and that if you don't show up, or if you show up late enough times, like, you will get fired. Extrinsic motivation. But really in this community, they're going to intrinsic motivation of like, let's find out really why people are not showing up on time and why they don't want to show up, and go like to the root of the issue and change that, and go from top down processing to bottom up. So yeah, and in that, making people free. A couple of the creators of the community were Dijardun, author, and Sabina Lichtenfeld, another author. The daughter of Dijardun was there, and she was one of our guides, and I loved how she talked about the community, and that it was this healing biotope, and that we have to, how can we expect there to be peace on earth if we can't do it here at the community first? And it was really like, let's start here, which obviously is just like this metaphor of like, let me create peace in myself, instead of like expecting it on the outside of me. Um, so they had talked about a culture of transparency and deprivatization were these words that they use, and that really like not hiding things and bringing things out into the open for everyone to see, and like no secrets. I was having, I had asked him like, okay, yes, there's a reason that there is confidentiality. So where does that fit in? I didn't really get the answer so much. Um, yeah. So there were what's called forums, which, so Zeg was in Germany, the community, and I went to Tamera, which their sister communities. Forum comes from Zeg, which is Zeg Forum, which is a way of sort of like having a sharing circle of sharing your process and emotions and things in front of a large group. So everyone was in a circle, person goes into the middle, they share what's called a performance, which I didn't really like that word. Um, and then there's a guide that can sort of interject and help the person out in the middle if they're getting lost or something, or ask questions. I kind of had a hard time with it. Um, I didn't like that the person who was guiding it interrupts. People were laughing on the outside a lot. I didn't like that it was called a performance. Um, that just sounds like I'm putting on this show for people. And then after someone has their performance, people come in and provide mirrors, which the instruction is, as giving a mirror, you talk from your higher self to the higher self in that person and really provide a mirror for them. And I just heard lots of advice and judgment from people. And the whole process of like someone going in and sharing and then mirrors coming after that took like 20 to 30 minutes. And I've just seen that it doesn't take that long, like I've been to many sharing circles where, you share 3 or 4 minutes and it's like so much healing can come from that. I've seen in myself from the listener or the speaker, and that 20 or 30 minutes for the whole process just didn't seem necessary to me or as helpful. They're really big on owning desires and owning attractions. I feel like this is scary for me because if I own my desire and say, hey, I'm desiring this, I can experience rejection and I can make someone uncomfortable. So those were sort of things holding me back from expressing desire or attraction. But I also saw that when people are really authentic to me and say, hey, I'm attracted to you, that was like a really big turn on for me. Authenticity is a turn on and is attractive to me. I love the language that a lot of people were using there. Like Brene Brown says that when you're having an assumption or a projection or an expectation of someone, using the term, the story I'm telling myself is this true? Or I'm writing the story that this is happening, or that you're mad at me. Is this true? And another ones that they had are, I project onto you that, and this reflects onto me that, and then changing the word but to and. And another one I really liked is, you can ask for anything and I will take care of my boundaries. So Tamera didn't really teach about boundaries, which was a frustration of multiple people there. And our group luckily had people that were like really experienced in that and that could teach it. So held workshops to teach it. But yeah, just being able to trust that both sides can handle their own and express their own boundaries so that both sides can own their own desires. So I did learn a lot about boundaries. You could say yes, no, not now, no, but I can do this. And the idea that no doesn't need a reason, and that like we had sort of like soft temple nights where we were all in a soft sexual space together, and that people were kind of kissing and touching here and there, and this idea that nothing needs to happen and that I can just be there and sit on the side, and that nothing needs to happen. I don't have to do anything. It was really nice. And this analogy of having boundaries creates more freedom, and that this analogy someone had of children playing on a playground. If there's just nature surrounding the playground, they will actually stay on the playground and not drift off into the field and into the woods or the nature. They'll stay on the playground. But if you put a fence far away from the playground, surrounding the playground, the children actually leave the playground and will go all the way to the fence. And they feel security in this boundary, and actually leave and have more sense of more freedom. So yeah, Tamera had the love school, so they teach about free love, and that love that is free from fear. They use lots of terms, sexuality, sensuality, intimacy, relationships. There's lots of like overlap of them, and I was like really, what's the difference between love and sexuality? Because I felt like they were using them very synonymously. They have these huts all around the property that are called love spaces. They're basically like a hut with a bed in it that you can go alone or with someone to have sex or to be loving in any way. But I was like, mostly people were going there to have sex. I was like, shouldn't this be called like a sex space rather than a love space? And that maybe they were just not being authentic with the verbiage there. I'm not sure. But I love, they said this idea of like really moving slow, and they said move slow so that your consciousness can follow, or move in a relationship at the pace of your own consciousness so that old patterns don't happen. I got to use, my friend has the dreams talk, which is an acronym of all these questions you go through with a potential partner to see if y'all are compatible or if it's going to work. And the D is desire, relationships, emotions, aftercare, meaning, and safety. And so you have this whole conversation and you go through a list of this acronym with all these questions, and then you're like totally on the same page together. Sorry. So I got to practice that a lot, which is really nice. They had really cool games there, scary, cool games that we played. Like when we would have parties, we had a game where if there was a cork, you could offer it to someone, and that was you asking for a kiss, and they could say yes, no, I can give you something else, like a hug or kiss on the cheek. We also played this other game where we walk around the space, and that when you come face to face with someone, you take a second and you breathe with them, and then you each hold up a 0, 1, 2, or 3. And the 0 is I want nothing, no touch. 1, I want a hug. 2, I want a kiss on the cheek. Or 3, I want a kiss on the lips. And that you each do a number at the same time, and the person with the lowest number, that's what you do. And then one night we went on a field trip to the beach for 2 days, one night, and we had a bonfire on the beach, and we all went around the circle and shared the names of people in our cohort who we were interested in having more than friendship with, or sexual or romantic interest in them. So then we got to see like where were the overlaps, who was interested in the same person, and so that was really scary and cool. Yeah, so they're really big into polyamory and non-monogamy, which I'm not totally sure on the difference of those terms, at Tamera. And um, I had heard that, so that was part of my intention, was to go there and kind of like learn about free love, learn about polyamory. And I had heard that it's not really possible to go into polyamory being on a community with people for weeks or even months. It takes a longer time to actually like develop trusting longer relationships with people to really build foundation. And that the people at Tamera who lived there for years, yeah, they are practicing polyamory. Us visitors who are there from 1 week to 10 weeks, that's not enough time to really establish relationships to actually be practicing polyamory. I found that I have about 5 challenges with polyamory. One being, so I have this analogy, this is the best thing I could come up with, so forgive me, but I have this analogy that women are like clear, pure, clean white towels, and that when they go be sexual with someone, it's like dirt on the towel, whether that's physical dirt, skin cells, sex, or bodily fluids, yeah, just like physical things on the body, or energetic dirt. And that my friend Doug says that when you're sexual with someone, you have sex with them, it's this heart soul connection contract bond with this person, and that there's this deep energetic exchange with them. And that if I'm going to be sexual with someone, I'm sort of taking on the energy that of the other people that they've had sex with. And so there's that dirt that someone has on their towel that I'm being exposed to. So there's this like element of like wanting to be wise with the energies that I'm taking on and to be safe. I also found that I compare myself to my partner's partners. I I can be jealous of them. A big one I found was that if you're romantic or sexual with someone, that must mean that you love me less, or that you have less love to give me. If you're spending time and energy with someone else, you have less time and energy and love to give me. And I saw, like, when I got to Tamera, I was interested in like multiple people, and I saw them kiss someone or hug someone or go on a date with someone, and I like almost instantly lost interest. And I saw that in myself, that I didn't want to have any PDA and like and kiss someone in public, because I didn't want other people to see that, because I projected onto them that they would think the same thing, and that I am getting dirt on my towel. All of these challenges I see in polyamory don't really seem like wholesome, skillful perceptions, and that I have many friends here at home that have seemed to master how to really have mastered polyamory, or it's really working out for them. And I hear them talk about having coercion, and that when they see their lover with someone else feeling pleasure or happiness, they feel pleasure and happiness in themselves. And that when their partner's happy and full of pleasure, they feel that too. And that seems, like Buddha nature or Christ consciousness, that like I would imagine that that's how they would feel. I don't see the Buddha or Jesus feeling jealous or comparing themselves or feeling scarcity. So I don't know if there's like perception shifts that I should work towards as far as relationships in this way. I saw that in the same way that when someone invests, they say don't put all your eggs in one basket when you're investing. You don't put all your money into one stock. You diversify your portfolio, and that you have many stocks or um, whatever. And so that if you lose one, you have others to fall back on. And I saw that in relationships, so that if I have one relationship, it's scarier, and that if I lose that one relationship, I lost everything. And then if I have multiple people that I'm romantic with, then if I lose that one person, I can fall back on the others. Sorry. And I wondered that, is that a shadow of polyamory? Is that it's actually this fear of being with one person, and that I could lose everything if I lost that one person. It's just curiosity I have. I had talked to lots of people there that had lots of experience with polyamory for a long time, who had great things to say about my challenges with it. And that I talked about the dirty towel, and my friend said, it's not about how dirty someone's towel is, it's how connected they are to this loving energy that is God, that is creation. So I really loved that. And another person said their goal really is to come back to just unconditional love. And that when I'm comparing myself to someone, that's just something that I need to look at in myself. And that when I'm jealous of someone, that's just showing where I have unmet needs. As far as the challenge of if you're with someone else, you must love me less. Someone said, well, haven't you ever loved two people at the same time? And I don't really know if I have. And they said, okay, well, what about a mother? A mother has two kids, and they love both kids, right? And I'm like, yeah. And I love my brother and my sister and my mom and my dad. I love multiple of those people at the same time. So I can kind of understand that. But I have seen that if I'm romantic with someone over here for a week, and then I leave and I'm romantic with this person for a week, that other person actually starts to like drift away, and this other person becomes like more connected to me. So I think that I feel I project that onto my partners, and that if they go be with someone else, that I am actually drifting away from them. I had someone say, in the same way they don't want to eat the same food every day, and that they want to try all the different foods, and that they want to be with all the different people, and that the energy that someone has over here and how they make them feel and all the parts that they bring out in that person are totally different than this person over here. So I feel that. I also feel that there's like this specialness and this sacredness to having like one person. And I saw that exclusivity and loyalty is almost like a love language to me, and that I feel super loved by someone if they're like, I just want to be with you. I want to be exclusive with you. I am loyal to you. That's like a love language to me. And I felt that sex is like a love language as well, which I know that it's quality time and it's touch, so I don't know if it's falls into those categories or if it's its own. Yeah, at one point I was romantic with someone, it ended, they started being romantic with someone else, I started avoiding both of them, all these triggers were coming up, I just had a talk with each of them, and it like totally cleared everything. Then my friend came to me and said, hey, how is it with y'all separated or not romantic anymore, and now she's with someone else? And I felt this feeling of like, yeah, she should be sad. She should be sad that it didn't work out with us. And this feeling of like, I have this reputation in the community of like someone that someone has been with and moved on to someone new, and that maybe there's like something wrong with me, and that I have this reputation that, or worrying that people are thinking that about me. And then another time I had shared with my friend that I was really interested in this girl. We were starting to talk. We were maybe going to hang out or something. And then either the same day or the day after, he said that he was going to go into Forum and ask her to go to a love space with him, basically asking her to be romantic or sexual with him. And I was like, I just told you that I was interested, thinking in my head, I just told you that I was interested in this person. And I felt like betrayed by him, and this feeling of like competition and like alpha dog. So I got to have that conversation with him, which was insightful, just understanding my psyche. And I've been pretty into attachment styles, so just noticing really that I can be super secure or anxious or avoidant depending on who I'm with in the environment. And it changes. And I'm really feeling that my definition of what it means to be in love is changing. Oh, burpee. Is changing a lot. And that I really felt like if I'm in love with someone, it means that I am just wanting to be with them. They are the person for me. There's no question that I want to be with anyone else. This is my person. They get rid of all the FOMO, and I will delete my apps for you, as Esther Perel says. And that's changing to I'm able to like be in love with someone and love them really in that moment and tell them, and not really be so concerned on like, is this the person for me, whether for my life or for right now, but I can really like be in love with this person like now. So that's a big change. Thank you. I think that's it for Tamera. I'm back home now for 2 weeks, and when I got here, it really felt like I never left. I was driving around just like, wow, it feels like I was here last week. It felt really trippy. It was pretty ungrounding to get here, and like out of money, no job, no, not having a house, well, searching for a house. But now everything's falling into place, and feeling more grounded and looking forward to just getting quiet and still and grounded for the winter. And we'll see what happens next year. Love you all.